Take a look at your phone. What's on your phone right now? More than likely, you have a phone case on it. You're protecting your screen from falls, from scratches. If something happens to your phone, how much does it cost to replace the screen? Or even the phone for that matter? You could get a new screen for about $100, get it fixed, or another phone for $1,000 maybe, but you still choose to protect your phone with a case. What about when you're riding a bike, going skiing, rollerblading? Do you protect your head? Because you can't replace the brain cells that you have, but you can protect your head. You can wear a helmet. So if you take the time to cover your phone, why not take the time to cover your head? Welcome to Prevention Let's Talk, a space where we explore everyday situations, real life experiences, and small changes that can make a big difference. I'm Tara Grenier, an injury prevention specialist. Together, we'll have open, honest conversations about safety, awareness, and choices without judgment. Whether you're here to learn, reflect, or just listen in, you're in the right place. Picture this. You're riding on a bike down the road, one of these roads where there's lots of bumps and grooves and sand and dirt and cars, all kind of stuff. All of a sudden, your tire goes into a pothole. Your front tire gets stuck and you start to fly over the handlebars. You're in Superman position and all you can see is the concrete below that is you're about to hit your head on. When that's about to happen, I have a question. Would you like to have a helmet on or would you not like to have a helmet on? Most of the time, I think you're going to choose the helmet. So let's go ahead. Let's strap on the helmet and prepare for impact. The truth of the matter is, we don't have the ability to pause life when bad things are about to happen. A lot of you have children. If you have little children, start early. It's really important to get them accustomed to it, protecting their brain. Your brain's in charge of everything. Thinking, going to school, you want to work, getting things done. You need those brain cells. So it's super important to protect your brain. I'm Tara Grenier. I'm an injury prevention specialist. I have over 25 years in the field. I've worked with athletes, worked with sports medicine. I worked at different trauma centers, both in Canada and the US. One of the things that really strikes me is that no matter what I do or say to people, one of the things that really stands out the most are people's stories, how they were affected by injuries. That's one of the most impactful things. And so this is why I decided to start this podcast. I wanted to give people a platform where they could share how their lives might have changed in an instance, with the hope of being able to make a difference in somebody's life, maybe prevent a catastrophic injury from happening. Nobody plans for an injury. Nobody's putting it in their calendar, oh, today I'm going to get injured. As a matter of fact, people think it's not going to happen to them. But what I've learned over the years is that there's patterns. You can predict that when injuries are going to happen. I kind of see injuries everywhere. Why? Because I'm recognizing the pattern. I know what type of people, what type of injuries are coming into the trauma center, whether it's a fall, whether it's a car crash. A lot of times injuries are preventable. Think of a car crash. Well, people are speeding. They look without checking your blind spot, maybe getting in the car drunk. The work that I do is just trying to get people to take a minute and to reflect and think about what can I do to make a little small change, but yet make a really big impact. When I get people to come to my trauma center for an educational tour, for example, some of the things that I let them know, it's like, okay, so if you're navigating the street, you're walking down the road, do you walk out into the street without looking? You got to look left, look right. Are you crossing in front of a truck without making eye contact with the driver to make sure that he saw you? We're able to do some small changes that can make a big difference. If you're walking on the ledge of a sidewalk, you're walking on the sidewalk, do you walk towards the inside of the sidewalk or towards the curve of the street? Making one small change, walking a little bit more towards the inside of the sidewalk could save you from having a bus mirror come by and hit you behind the head. That little small thing, even though it doesn't change very much in your life, it could still make a big difference. That's why, as an injury prevention specialist, I want people to be prepared. I want people to know, to be able to recognize how injuries are about to happen. I'm not looking to scare anyone. I don't want people to be afraid. That's not what this is about. But having the preparation and knowing the signs, knowing the patterns, I think is important. So if you listen in to some of the episodes, you're going to get some good insight and be able to recognize things before they happen. I'm able to see these types of things pretty much everywhere I go. And I see things, I see patterns that are about to happen. Like I remember there is a child in a stroller that wasn't strapped down, a toddler, and they're just crawling up onto the stroller and then wanting to stand up, and like the parents are just letting them do it. And all I could see, and I could see what was going to happen, that the stroller was going to flip over and the child was going to go down and maybe hit their head. And so like things like that are what I'm trying to give to you, give you some insight about seeing the potentials. I remember at some point as well living across the street from some apartments, and right across the street there was this child always liked to be on the balcony, which is fine, except for he would be on the balcony by himself. Maybe he's about 7 years old, 6, 7 years old. But there's things that the child could climb on and get up onto the edge. And all I could envision was this child was going to go over, was going to fly over. And I just couldn't help but to question myself, like, okay, if I don't say anything, if I don't do anything, could I live with myself if I have to look across and see the child laying on the concrete one day? I don't think I could forgive myself. And I did end up going across and just mentioning, it's great, that your kid's able to be outside. I just wanted to mention, the safety issue of having the things that the child could climb on. Sometimes I'm a firm believer still in it takes a village to raise a child or whatever. I need to give my insights sometimes. Sometimes it's hard for me to stay quiet, especially when it has to do with safety. It's hard for me to go to a place and be able to relax without just seeing the injuries. I'm not trying to make you into, an over safe person. Like, I'm not trying to get you to, live in fear. That's not the objective. It's just to be able to prepare and plan. Just make small changes. It doesn't take anything if we move the chairs away from the railing. It doesn't take much if we take a step in away from the sidewalk curb. As you listen to Prevention Let's Talk, you're going to get a whole bunch of tips and insights on how you can keep your family safe. I think about things even in the home where you think, oh, I'm home, I'm safe, right? There's little things that you could do to make your home safer. Let's think about simple act of doing the dishes. When you do the dishes, do you put your forks and knives facing upwards, or do you put them facing downwards? Well, I'm hoping that you're putting them facing downwards. I think about a few things. You go to reach over, the dish rack, and the knives are pointed up, and then here you go, and you cut your arm. Maybe your forks and knives are pointing up, and you need to go look for something. You lean over, you go look, and then a fork or a knife in the eye. These are the things, like, again, not to live in fear, just make sure you point them downward. If we think about falls, I do talks where I go into seniors' residences. So one of the things that we see a lot is they want to go on the step ladder, but they have these step ladders, those ones that are top heavy. So you go on, and if you lean over just a little bit, that's going to fall. You'd think that, oh, it's not a big deal, it's just a fall. But one of the most frequent types of injuries that we have there are falls, and that's true across most trauma centers. People are there for a fall. But when I say trauma center, that means it's something that puts your life or limb in danger. So a fall can be devastating. You can have a devastating injury from falling just from a standing position. And imagine if you're not able to protect yourself in time with your hands. Going back to that step ladder, is it worth having maybe a little bulkier one that has steps and maybe guardrails? Well, as we age and maybe our balance is not as good and our agility is not as good, then yeah, it's worth it. I 100% feel that that's worth it. In your bathroom, if you put in that little bath mat, do you put your bath mat in when the tub is wet, or do you put it in when the tub is dry? Because if you put it in when it's wet and then you go to stand on it, that thing is going to slide. So that's something that can cause an injury. These are the types of insight. I just learned so much things over the course of my career that I just want to have a platform to be able to share with you and make a difference in you and your family's life. And then the touching stories, that's going to make a huge difference, a huge impact. I'm so excited to get started with this. And if this is something that you may be interested in, I hope that you subscribe and follow me and follow the stories. And I think you'll get a lot out of it. Please tune in for all of my special guests that will be sharing their story. Very excited. I also have a really special surprise for that person. I'm excited to share with all of you. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for being here and listening to Prevention Let's Talk.